After more than 2 years of operating illegally in Taiwan, ride-hailing company Uber halted domestic service at the beginning of February. With their preferred ride-hailing app no longer available, many of Uber's former users turned to messaging software like Line to contact the company's former drivers for rides.
Why do people prefer to use the unregulated service of ex-Uber drivers rather than just calling a taxi? And was the government right to drive Uber out of Taiwan? Our Sunday in-depth report.
It offered an app that promptly matches drivers with passengers in their itineraries at prices 30 to 40% cheaper than taking a cab. Uber's arrival in Taiwan in 2013 took a noticeable toll on the local taxi sector, with empty cab rates skyrocketing across Taiwan.
I used to work 12 hours a day and I would usually be able to earn what I wanted. After various deductions, I would go home with 2,000 or 3,000 NT per day, but now I might have to spend 15 hours to earn that kind of money before heading home.
In September 2014, the Transportation Ministry declared Uber's operations illegal and started to fine the company while pushing new taxi services it claimed could replace Uber.
让接近的各式汽车一字排开，没唬你，这些都是计程车，但是没有一台是黄色的。
Among the new services were a cab reservation app, a driver rating system, and an option for paying cab fares electronically. But despite their similarities with Uber's own features, the new services didn't lead to an increase in taxi ridership.
The prices of these new taxis were all fixed just like cab fares and were even as much as 14 times the price of regular cabs. We couldn't accept it.
At the beginning of 2017, the government stepped up its crackdown on Uber, raising the maximum fine for a single infraction from 150,000 NT to 25 million NT. The increased financial penalties forced Uber to announce it was halting its Taiwan operations on February 10th. But the Transportation Ministry's hope that Uber's former customers would return to the regulated taxi market didn't pan out.
There's no more Uber, but we already relied too much on Uber to do without it, so we had to use Line.
Amber, who lives in Geelong, privately exchanged her Line contact information with the Uber drivers she knew as soon as she heard the company was closing down. She now uses the messaging app to request rides from the drivers, who as before operate what are considered illegal, unlicensed taxis. There were many consumers like Amber who, after Uber's exit from Taiwan, switched to using Line to hail rides. There's been enough lingering demand to form a Line group, which coordinates ride-sharing requests in each of Taiwan's major districts.
If the person giving you a ride is not a professional driver, or if they're not driving a licensed business vehicle, you should be aware of the risks involved.
Uber has a two-way rating system so that neither passengers nor drivers will try to cause trouble. But Line doesn't have a GPS function to track rides, so if a driver takes the long way around, or if there's a dispute over the fare during the ride, there's absolutely no way to appeal.
Business on the Line group is even less subject to regulation or consumer protections, creating a sort of black market that neither the government nor society at large seems ready to tolerate. But what are the chances of Uber itself accepting regulation by Taiwan's government?
It's not that we're unwilling to be subject to regulation, it's that we're not sure what sort of business we want to be regulated as. The laws written 30 or 40 years ago to govern the transportation services industry basically don't take into account the sort of internet platform we use.
This way of using digital technology to do business is a recent innovation. If you use traditional taxi regulations to manage a business like that, it will not work out.
It's a new beginning that starts with a familiar question. Where to?
The US, Australia, and Canada were among the earliest countries to draw up new laws for so-called transportation network companies. In 2013, California passed a law that brought Uber, Lyft, and other such companies under the state's regulatory umbrella.
今天杀死一个 Uber， 还有千千万万个 Uber。
They've killed Uber, which has just given way to hundreds and thousands of other Ubers. We hope the government will be willing to act to turn back the clock on this.
Though the ride-hailing service has stopped domestic operations for now, it seems unlikely that the government will be able to fully stem the ongoing transition toward a sharing economy, in which other transportation network companies and new technologies will inevitably emerge. Recognizing this trend and updating the transport business laws currently in effect may be the only way to solve the problem.